Deep dive interviews with music gear inventors, builders, creators, and tone chasers. The Gear Gab Podcast with Eric Dahl uncovers the behind-the-scenes stories of the music gear that inspires us. And now, here's your host, Eric Dahl.
Thank you for joining the Gear Gab Podcast. It's an honor to have a buddy of mine. We met many years ago at Puckett's in Franklin, Tennessee, and I got to jam on stage with him back then. Now, he is the president and co-owner of Breedlove Guitars, the one and only Pete Mroz.
What's happening, buddy? Good morning.
Pete, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's, we've got so much fun stuff to cover, with everything with you. I know. It's like, but obviously you're going to have to come back on for another show. So I'm just warning you up front. But,
well, you lead the charge and I'll try to hang on as much as I can, man.
So this is a good warm up show. I think for a lot of people, I brought this up to you, Pete, and we're going to talk about your history and your background in music and everything that you've accomplished and continue to accomplish in music, but also with the new direction with Breedlove and the great stuff that you and your partner, Shannon, are bringing to this company. But first off, I want to talk a little bit about you. So where, born in South Bend, Indiana, and moved to Nashville at only 19 years old. Is that correct?
19, baby. Come on.
And so you moved here to Music City to become a singer, songwriter, guitarist, which obviously you did. And, a lot of great success and albums, and even played on an Eddie Arnold tribute album, which we're going to talk more about later. But then, with your career and everything, a big thing that put you on the map, besides selling your Zoom recorder to me at one point, was that was like, wasn't that the Craigslist days? Wasn't that it?
It was.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, so anyway, so that was great. Once again, art, multiple connections. But then you went on The Voice and became, part of Team Blake Shelton.
Yeah.
Which was kind of completing a circle also because you already knew Blake from here in Nashville. So you got to talk about that.
Yeah, from 25 years to, now 30 years ago, but yeah, from 30 years ago.
So how did, what was it like, with you being a Nashville-based singer-songwriter and with, great credibility and everything, Pete, to where you get picked to go on The Voice and compete and do very well?
Well, man, so I'll roll back a little bit. I did move here when I was 19, and man, it was the roaring 90s of country. Garth Brooks mania, man. Alan Jackson, Brooks Dunn, Clint Black. I mean, I could just go down this list of like
Marty Stewart, Travis Barrett.
Of course. I mean, I'll miss someone if I try to name them out.
We both will.
And they're all equally important as Vince Gill. And, it was just, I came here to Nashville because I wanted to be Garth Brooks. Like I along with a ton of people, I wanted to.
Yeah.
And a guy said to me one day, he goes, "You need to move to Nashville." And I didn't write songs. I barely played guitar. I had just played for like maybe a year, at that time. And yeah, I had some people, I was singing karaoke in Florida at the time, like at, 18, 19 years old.
I'd read that's how you got started, was doing karaoke.
Yeah. I started singing in church. And then that one day, my dad signed me up for a karaoke thing. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And what's really odd about that is like the first place was really, really noisy. It was, it's karaoke. It's like I was at a wing joint or something, a beer and wing joint, and man, after the first verse of the song, silence in the room. And it like came over me like, wow, this is what I'm gonna do. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what it means and what the path looks like or anything. And then fast forward, man, like a year, and I'm living in Nashville. And at that time, my path was very much like a lot of singers' path in Nashville when they come to town. I sang on a lot of demos. Like I became a demo singer, and I sang on a lot of songwriters' demos and found a way to make money doing that.
And also you honed your craft, because I know whenever we'd first met, I knew your name, but a lot of people knew you as doing a great job on their demos. That's how the songs were getting.
Demo singer. Yeah, I mean, and it was, so I came to town to write songs. I didn't come to town to be a demo singer, but that's what. Hey, man, like it is what it is.
Pays the bills.
Yeah, it was great, and I mean, that lends itself to many things: production, learn how to write songs. I mean, in with writers. So I kind of feel like even though you don't know who I am, I've been in the backdrop, of old Nashville, not the new one per se, but the old Nashville, which is now we're all seniors in this town.
Yeah, I know. Is it crazy? Yeah, it's like when you and I were talking about it too, and not to embarrass you, but like when down at Puckett's in Franklin, Tennessee, and you and Corey Congilio had this deal going there for like 2 years.
2 years.
And it was like, and that's where you and I first met. But it's like it was like a who's who, Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, the ridiculous amount of singers, songwriters, guitarists, and they would just drop in to see you and Corey and then sit in.
Yeah. We would have everyone from Derek St. Holmes, Brad Wickford, Gary Talent, Becca Bramlett, Bonnie, her mom. I mean, people would like come in, and then we'd have like a hit songwriter that is not necessarily a blues person, and they'd get up there and play a song. It was amazing, and none of it. Everyone would come up and say this when they're like, "So what's the set list?" Like, no, there is no set list.
I think I asked you that. I think when I came up, because, and I got to tell you too, it's like, like you, it's like, I've played all my life. I played guitar since I was 5. I started playing shows at 15, but it's like, but watching you guys, I'm sitting out there, and once again, I knew Corey very well, and you and I were just meeting, but it's like it was a little intimidating because you guys were so incredible, and the band was so tight, and it's like as you and I know, Pete, particularly in that day, it's like you come to Nashville to play and jam even, you better bring the A game.
Yeah, full disclosure, transparency on that. We were all just hanging on by the seat of our pants. We're all just taking the ride, man. Just like that. But that's music, that's we made a pact that all of us have played music in Nashville for so long that we didn't want to be reading charts and making it slick. And there's magic in the mess.
Right.
There's always a little bit of magic in the mess. Muddy Waters didn't like have a chart sitting out. I talked to Bob Margolin one time, and I asked him these kind of similar question like this. He said, "No, man." He goes, "We didn't rehearse." He goes, "Someone would count. Someone would come in. It'd be one night it'd be the guitar player, and the next day it'd be the harp player." Well,
okay. But you guys were so tight, Pete. I mean, that band. I mean, you guys got such a reputation playing down there because everything was so tight. And once again, even when I came down, it was like a weeknight, I think. And it was packed. I mean, I found a corner in the back seat because the whole place was packed, Pete.
That was a fun time. We kind of ruined that gig a little bit because they would pay us just a little bit of money. I mean, it was not much, but they gave us a steak dinner.
Oh.
So, yeah. So we were more excited about the steak dinner, but a couple of us started kind of doubling down on the steak dinner too much. And finally they were like, "You guys are too expensive to feed."
That was like when you and I were talking about Cape Girardeau, Missouri earlier, and my old gig at Broussard's when we were my little blues band, Ben Goes Here, was the house band. And I was telling somebody we would always eat gator because that was the most expensive thing on the menu. And we were a 3-piece band. And so we would get fried alligator before we started our gig. And that was like going, oh my gosh, for poor musicians, it's like going, yeah, we're eating great. I get it on the steaks, man.
I know. I'd be like, "Oh, so does this include dessert?"
It's like, can I get this steak to go? It's like, there was a piano player that used to play before us, Thad Bullock, and he was playing for meals. And so at the end of his thing, after he would play piano there at Broussard's, then he would get his 2 to-go meals, one for him and one for his wife. And that's mainly what he got paid in. So it's like, it's kind of a musician thing.
It is, man. We'll play for food.
exactly. A little bit of money to cover the gas is nice, but but I mean, but that show. I mean, to me, that gig really showcased, you and Corey and that band, and just like you were saying too, Pete, doing the demos, which you became so well known for, because what an incredible job you did as a singer and as a guitarist, and just you delivered. Those kind of things kind of sharpen you, as a musician, and that's what and I want to make sure that viewers and listeners to the podcast for Gear Gab realize that it's really a different time for Breedlove, and we're going to talk more about that as well, to where musicians are involved with it now, real gigging, songwriting, recording musician like yourself.
Well, so, we were talking about coming here and, so I get into this demo land, writing land, and I get into a group called the Young Writers. And we weren't a band. We were just, if anyone watching this or listening to this knows anything about Nashville, we do these things here called songwriter rounds. And I'm guilty of not doing them much anymore these days because I feel like I did so many in the past that, I just, that's not something I do right now, but not saying I wouldn't. But anyway, what the premise of this little group is instead of having a round where everyone's like playing like really oddball songs one to the next, we had a cohesive, it was myself, Robin English, Ryan Murphy, Michael Martin Murphy's son. It was Rachel Proctor and then Blake Shelton. So
I remember that group.
Yeah, we were in this, and we'd go around to the Bluebird, to the Courtyard Cafe. I don't think the Commodore was around at the time. Douglas Corner was a big thing that we would do.
Yeah, Douglas Corner.
Anyway, this was this little group that we were in, and they would always put me on one end and Blake on the other end. Now, what's really kind of there's lots of funny things about that, but I'm 5'4" and Blake is like 6'4".
Right.
So Blake at the time had this beautiful mullet,
Oh yeah.
and I have no hair. I had I had the shaved head. But I wore a big Garth Brooks hat.
You always had the best hats, Pete. Always, you always were stylish in your hat choice.
And let me say, even back then, I had a wonderful Stetson that I was wearing that was just off the charts. Anyway, I was kind of like the modern country guy, and Blake was like the Oklahoma Toby Keith guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we used
and all ends of the spectrum in between you and Blake.
Correct. Then you'd have Robin, who was like this Texas, Texas country. Then you have, anyway, I digress, but the reality is that Blake and I knew each other like 30 years ago. And we will always say, like, who's going to get a deal first? Is it going to be Pete or is it going to be Blake? Is it going to be Pete, Blake, Pete, Blake, Pete? So we had a bass player that would play bass for all of us because he was married to Rachel, one of the girls in the Young Riders, Rob. Well, Rob was in my band. Like, I would use Rob. So Rob calls me. This is before texting and all that stuff. So this is like, I don't even think I had a cell phone. We didn't see each other until we saw each other. You dig what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So literally, I'd see you at a gig and you'd say, "Hey, Pete, can you come sing on my demo next Tuesday at X Studio?" I'm like, I'm in. That's how it worked.
And then you put it in your little notebook.
That's exactly right. I was filling my calendar blocks up, baby. Anyway, so Rob calls me. I have a landline. He calls me and goes, "Man, did you hear about Blake?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so good, man. He got a record deal. That's awesome. Like, I'm so happy for him." He's like, "Dude, he got this van and we're going to Oklahoma to do some shows." And I was like, "Bro, we have a show on Friday." He's like, and
there you go.
So fast forward when I went on The Voice, if anyone looks back at the clip, I looked at Blake. I was like, "You stole my bass player." And Blake goes, "No, I gave your bass player a job." I think, yeah, that's true. And
it's like all that, it's like that full circle, Pete.
Total full circle. And that's what I try to tell young people when they come to Nashville, if they ask me questions, young writers, artists, I'm like, look, this is a long game. If this is not a short game, nobody would have looked at me and have said, I'm 50, like when I'm 50 years old, I would have the opportunity to be like the next steward of a guitar company. I never would have ever fathomed it, dude, ever.
Right.
And it's all because, I got out of music a little bit, like full time, and went into a sales golf world that really honed in my skills as a businessman, but I never stopped playing ever.
No, and I moved that.
I just was never at the forefront, every day going, listen to me, listen to me. I was still recording albums, still writing. I just did it in my own space and time. And so some people are like, I had a guy reach out to me, Eric. He goes, I don't even know who you are. And I'm like, well, now you do.
Yeah. But also, Pete, I got to bring this up too. And I think you and I are both of the same cloth on this, to where you were also, you got married, you were supporting a family, having children. I mean, you were living life. I mean, like you said, even, with the voice and with everything else, it's like, I always knew of you and always thought of you as a musician and a songwriter.
Cool.
Oh,
I love it. Thank you for saying that. I mean, that's who I am. I always have a guitar around me, and my house drives my family crazy. But then again, it doesn't. It's just normal.
right.
I mean, it's next to my bed. I wake up, put my glasses on, I'll go wash my face, come back, grab the guitar, and I make coffee with the guitar around me. And
But I think also, and that's why I think it's so great with Breedlove now and with you as part of the ownership team, Pete, because you're bringing a player's instinct to it. It's part of your DNA.
Mm. And a lot of folks, I had the opportunity to meet Larry Breedlove recently. He came to Breedlove, and we invited him there because we wanted to tell the founder's story of how Breedlove started. And he and Terry Myers, they both worked for Taylor Guitars for a very, very long time. And they really couldn't talk about Breedlove because they went back and worked for Taylor. So they had to kind of sign, you're not bad form. It's bad form to talk about something else when you're working for another company. And it was really cool to hear Larry talk about how the company started and why he left and went back to Taylor, then the next group of owners. But I always say that all through those owners, the only like full-time player, full-time that go out and play was Terry Myers.
Right.
And Terry left and went back and was with Taylor. So Terry and Larry and Terry, so I feel like I'm saying my brother Daryl, my other brother.
Exactly. And my other brother Daryl.
They're the ones that started the DNA of Breedlove. They really did. And then as you go through the lineage, his brother Kim came in and he really kind of elevated the quality and the nuances of the detail of the guitar. And then Tom Bedell came and got the company in 2010.
Yeah.
Tom brought two major things to Breedlove. He brought sustainability. Like, we buy all of our wood from sustainable vendors. Like, we're very, very strict on what wood we buy from people. It can't be clear cut. It can't just be, it has to be intentional. Trees have to go back up. I mean, it's as responsible as we can be.
And Tom was ahead of his time on that too, Pete, because I remember having a conversation with him, back in the day. And it's like, and that was before like everybody else kind of jumped on board.
Correct. And I will say wholeheartedly about Tom Bedell with sustainability. He didn't want to do it just for Breedlove. He wanted to do it for the industry as a whole. It was a mission of his, and he put his money where his mouth and his passion was. So he deserves the accolades for doing making some hard decisions. And now we're just the beneficiaries of things that he already put in place.
And I want you to fill this in too, because once again, thanks for giving us the timeline too, Pete, to where, the launch of Breedlove, with Larry and everything back in 1990, and then the different, throughout the years there up until 2010 with Tom. So then 2025,
2025. Yeah.
How did this, because I got to tell you, and it's like whenever this came about, and I can't remember who the first person was that reached out to me and told me, not surprised in the least. Did not surprise me that you were a part of Breedlove and that you were part of this new ownership management with Breedlove. It did not surprise me, but how did this come about?
I'm glad it didn't surprise you because it surprised the hell out of me.
But I mean, I know you, man. I mean, I've known you for how many years? It's like going, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So to make it simple, I came off the show of The Voice, and I had a conversation with my Martin guitar rep, and he's a wonderful human being, and my self-importance feelings got hurt on a phone call. It was just me. I'm a grown man, and I realized I wanted something that wasn't going to happen. And I got off the phone call, and I was like, that kind of hurt my little feeling. You know,
There, man.
we do it. We do it. So I recognized it. I realized it. I was totally fine with it. But a friend of mine said, you should check out Breedlove Guitars. And I was like, well, I'm not looking to find a new home. My little feelings just got hurt. It's all good. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
And then Breedlove sent me a guitar, and I played it, called the guy. The guy was so nice to me. And I was just like, man, let me check out some more guitars, and da 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 da. And so I started down the guitar path of an artist with a guitar company, and I honestly just fell in love with the people.
Wow.
I fell in love with the people, and then the product came second. Because I believe that if the people are genuine and purposeful and that they are good humans, the byproduct has to be good.
Right.
Has to be. I mean, when you're dealing with craftsmen and people, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So fast forward, Tom Bedell finds out that I work for a major golf manufacturer named FootJoy at the time. And I managed a major territory for them, which is not an easy business thing to do. You have to keep a lot of things together, and it's a major brand. It is what it is. And he reached out and asked me to be his national sales manager. And as good as that was for my ego, and as much as I was like, thank you, it didn't make sense for me, Eric, at the time. You know, I've got
some elements of it.
I've got 3 kids, a beautiful, amazing wife. I got big boy bills, baby. You know,
To say this, man, you know, and you and I both know as family men, it's like the bills come in, you know, and it's like going and dreams and passion can't always pay for those. Sometimes you got to have a real gig.
I tell people all the time, it's good to dream, but just do it responsibly.
Right.
You know, like that's a fine line. Dreaming is good. Everyone should dream. Just you can do it responsibly is all I'm saying. So
Dream responsibly.
Yeah. So I've done lots of irresponsible dreaming in my past. Trust me, believe me.
You do.
So I called Tom back and I just let him know. I said, hey, I got 2 things. I said, pay me X and let me run the company, and I'm your huckleberry. And he said, well, I can't do that. And I said, no, I didn't think you could. And he goes, well, what else you got? And I said, would you sell me the company? And he laughed and he went, are you kidding me right now? Like I'm asking you to be a national sales manager and you're asking me to buy the company? And I know, I was like, that's right. I mean, I had nothing to lose.
I know, but I mean, what a move though. I mean, you know, wrapping my head around that, Pete, because I didn't know this part of the story, to where he approaches you, offers you a job, and your counter offer is, let me buy the company.
Yeah. Well, as vibrato, as much vibrato as that sounds, that's what I did. So that's what I did. My dad used to say, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. So that's
Obviously good advice.
So, Tom said to me, he said, do you have a financial institution you're working with? And I said, no, but I got an idea. And I worked years ago on a Eddie Arnold tribute album where I was very, very fortunate to be able to sing one of Eddie Arnold's songs. I became very close with Eddie Arnold's grandson. His name is Shannon Pollard. And Shannon
You and I were talking about this too, Pete, to where people don't realize with Eddie Arnold, how many hit songs, how many hit albums, and what at the time was called the Nashville Sound, which Chet Atkins was also an architect of.
I mean, Eddie Arnold sold 85 million albums.
Hmm.
He passed away in 2008. So if you roll back and see when he really sold those albums, to sell 85 million albums is like selling in today's world, I don't know, 200 million? I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
140.
It's unreal.
It's
ridiculous.
crazy. And so I became close with the family in a way that kind of just transcended me just working on the album with them. I mean, we just became friends, like brothers. And, his mother, when she passed, God rest her soul, he asked me to sing at her funeral. And I just became really close with the family. And I was sitting at this desk where we're at right now, talking this through before I talked to Tom Bedell about it. And there's a Eddie Arnold back there album cover you can't quite see in here. I turned around and looked at it. I was on the phone with my friend Robin, and I said, "That's it. Shannon. It makes sense. We trust each other. He's a drummer. He's a musician. Like he's into sustainability. There were so many things that made sense. And I was like, I'm going to ask Shannon, and
Yeah.
I'm just taking a flyer here, man. I'm just rolling. I'm just going with it, man. I'm just going with it. And sure enough, I went to see Shannon on a Thursday. I put a guitar on his desk. We caught up as old pals for about an hour. And then he said, "Can I play that guitar?" And I said, "Yeah, man, check it out." He starts strumming chords on it. He's like, "Wow, this thing is really nice." And I said, "Well, that's what I'm here for." I said, I didn't realize this till later down the line. What I'm about ready to tell you, he told me later. I didn't realize at the time. But he looks at me and goes, I said, we could get this whole company. He goes, "What, this guitar?" Like, he thought I meant that guitar. He thought I was there, Eric, to sell him my guitar.
On the guitar. It's like going, I'm a drummer mainly, but you're selling a guitar?
I said, "No, man, the whole thing, like Breedlove." So I don't know if a lot of viewers out there know, but Breedlove consists of, at the time, it was Two Old Hippies, which was a store here in Nashville that a lot of Nashvillians loved. So it's Two Old Hippies, Breedlove, Bedell. So there's like 3 entities there. I was like, man, the whole thing, buddy, like the whole thing. And if we put all these things together, if we put all these things into one guitar, think about what kind of a superpower guitar we could have, And anyway, that's a long story, but roll forward about 2 months later, damned if we didn't own a guitar company.
It's so funny too, because thinking about Two Old Hippies, and for people that weren't at that shop, it's like going, all of us used to love going to it because besides having, the Breedlove guitars and everything, the Bedell guitars, to where also they had all these clothes, they had gig clothes, and so, a lot of musicians around town would go to Two Old Hippies
Right.
to buy clothes to play shows.
Right. Yeah. We would wait for him to go on sale.
Had to wait for him to go on sale because none of us could afford the full price. Yeah. We've said that so many times. But it was right there in the Gulch before the Gulch became the Gulch.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so, man, I never would have dreamed it. But I will say that since I didn't dream it, every part of where I am right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Everything. All of my, if you have a toolkit for life, we all do. We all have our own tool belt that's got the right tools for what we need to do in life. Every tool in my tool belt is made for what I'm doing. When I was in the golf business, I love my customers. I loved connecting with people. I loved playing golf as a young man. Now I don't have time for it, but
Right.
That was kind of interesting because all the golf people would look at me like, "I just saw you on The Voice." you know?
But it's those different pieces of your personality to where like so many people here in Nashville to where in Nashville, people knew you as the demo guy and kind of the bluesy country guy, or a musician. People did not know you as the working at the golf company.
Because I didn't really talk. It was like a way to keep, I kept them really separate.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing actually, because while I worked and provided for my family, I never was frustrated.
No.
Because when I was ready to go play the blues with my band down at Bourbon Street, it's like, it's time to go play the blues for the people. Here we go.
But you maintained your outlet and your love of music. And I think musicians like us, you have to.
Yeah, man. It was so just beautiful. Life is just wonderful. If you can somehow stay present, be thankful, give, live in the light. You know what I mean? Like if you can, it's not easy. That's not an easy thing. I say it. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. If you can somehow manage to do those things and keep them top of mind, life is wonderful, man.
And, speaking of life being wonderful, to where the NAMM show this year in January in Anaheim, California. And, and I've been attending the NAMM show since 2003 when Ed Roman first got me in. Another long story. But anyway, it's like, so I'm there and it's like, and I had you on my list to come by and see you at your new Breedlove booth. And it's like, and I'm going to tell this too. Every time I came by the booth, it was packed. It was packed with people. No, because then I looked at you because then I knew you were talking with, music stores and all of these other people from all over the world. I didn't get to catch up with you, Pete, until I think the last day before I was going to fly out. And finally, you and I sat down for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then as we're sitting, more people are coming in the Breedlove booth to have meetings with you.
Yeah, man.
And you had the incredible photography, with Matt and with Derek and a number of your musicians that are, artists with Breedlove. But what did that feel like to be at the NAMM show with Breedlove? Like it was, to me from the outside, Pete, it was kind of like a reintroduction. It was like going, okay, this is Breedlove now, the modern era, the new era.
So what we wanted to do is, in the past, Breedlove really leaned on, obviously, the sustainability, which in turn visually turns into trees and outdoors. And it's beautiful. It was beautiful. But it's been done. Mm-hmm. So what we wanted to really kind of do is we wanted to kind of create something that's, our slogan is be love. Just be love, man. Be love, breed love. It's in the name, be love, breed love. It's there. It's all there. On the inside of the neck block of every guitar, we stamp be love on the inside of it. So that being the case, we want to do like a new rebrand where it's about the people that play the guitars, a feeling, a vibe. It's all inclusive,
right?
Like these are instruments of love. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you could be the most rotten person in the world, and this guitar could maybe bring a little joy to you.
Right. Well, and also, as you and I know, as musicians and so many people, listening to and watching, the podcast, where I think for a lot of us, I know for myself, playing guitar and being one with the guitar, on a regular basis makes me a better person. It centers me.
Yes. I learned some really important lessons of life during COVID that, it was really an introspective time for a lot of people, for a lot of us, and the one thing one of the biggest takeaways is I realized that I can't take the weight of the world on, but what I can take on is when you and I talk to each other, I'm good to you. Just be good. When you come in conversations with people and, if you can help. If you can't, you can't. If you can, but you still can be nice. You still can hold doors for people. You still can say, have a nice day, and if you don't even feel like doing that, that's all right. Just, but just be if we can cohabitate with people, just be together as a community, that everyone's got their role in life. Everyone does. Some people are called to be politicians. Some are called to be plumbers. Some are called to be lawyers. Some are called to be bakers. Like just do you. And I realize that just being yourself and being kind to people, and that's what I want. And that's what I feel like this is. I feel like this is now a way to just say, this is what I have to offer to the world. That's my place.
And I got to ask you though, Pete, though, at the NAMM show, once again, you never know. And it's like, and once again, I love the NAMM show because I love discovery. And going and meeting the people behind the instruments, the inventors, the creators, the people that just like yourself, the heads of the companies. It's like, and I want to know what's new, what's fresh, why should I want to play this or hear this? How did you feel, Pete, coming out of that show and being inundated with the whole booth being packed from the time you opened it until when you guys broke it down? I mean, what did that feel like?
We did something pretty radical for the company, man. We had 111 SKUs that were USA and import. And we made a very, very pointed decision that some people agree with, some people don't, but this is our vision, that we wanted only USA handmade guitars. We want to take back the brand equity that was established in 1990 by Larry Breedlove. It's a handmade production bench build guitar, if you will. Like it's as close to a boutique guitar as you're going to get without it's still production, because we still do some really good numbers.
Right.
So that meant no more imports. We're not importing guitars anymore.
And that's a bold move because
It's
as you and I, well, I mean, that's where your volume's at.
Yeah, it's bold. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of the financials, but it definitely is a bold move. But we felt like, I want you as a guitar player that when you play this Breedlove, you go, wow. And then you go and tell your friend, have you played a Breedlove? You've got to play that thing. And eventually what is going to happen, I'm putting it in the universe, it will happen, that this guitar will be known for like unbelievable, like you've got to play a Breedlove.
Right.
Period. Not like, I don't want you to say, man, have you played one of those import Breedloves? Man, what a great price point for a guitar. I don't want to be known as, I want this brand as my part of the legacy. I'm a legacy person with this brand now, that I'm a steward of the brand, right?
Right.
I want to leave my mark where right, wrong, indifferent, call me whatever you want. I want to bring back the sound and the feel and the quality of a USA guitar. So if something should happen to me, my position in this legacy of this story is, oh, that's that guy, Pete, that wanted those guitars to sound amazing and you write the narrative, go from here, whatever you want. But that is my mission.
And I brought this up to you too, to where, obviously I have a lot of artists, come into the studio here in Nashville to do the Rock and Review interviews with me, and hearing artists come in and mention Breedlove guitars in a different way now, even in the short span that you and Shannon have taken over it, the company with Breedlove, to where it seems like it's starting to elevate. There's an undercurrent that was not there before, because I think there was, and you touched on it, Pete, to once again, being a player and a collector myself, it was confusing, because for knowing the original instruments, and then during the time when you had the imports and the US models, and somebody would say, I've got a Breedlove, and the first thing I would say is, which one?
Right. Right.
Because it made a major difference to me, because I love, the US built ones, but was not a big fan of the import ones. And that's just me.
I mean, I'm fully 2000% aware that what it costs to do what I'm saying for the consumer to buy one of these guitars. I get it. I in my 20s couldn't afford to buy a certain brand I wanted. And for me personally at the time, I'd sing more demos. I'd save my money. I would, if I in the restaurant business, I work more shifts, and I saved my money to get that guitar.
Yeah.
And because the quality was there. And that is, we're just not a quick grab thing now. It's not disposable. It's an heirloom. It's something that you can pass on to your kids, or you can pass on to whoever that is. It. So I'm respectful of the folks that I've had I answer all the socials online.
I bet you that's eye-opening because my question also, Pete, and I don't want to put you on the spot, buddy, but like, what was the take from when you were talking with like the music stores and the dealers that handle Breedlove?
Oh,
And and you're like in there, it's like the Tony Soprano moment of guitars, where it's like going, you're giving them a hug and going, hey,
yeah,
no,
hey, there's happy people and there's mad people. You can't please everyone, but I'll say this on every record known to man. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I have nothing but wonderful intentions for this brand to try to elevate it. And that's changed certain people's business models, and I get the ripple effect. I understand. And I'm not. It's all been thought through. And I know, I understand the pain points for the people that love it, the happy points for the people that love it, the pain points that people are like, "What are you doing?" Like I said, I answer all of the social media stuff right now, which is a whole nother conversation. I mean, it is amazing the comments that I have got from people. You'd have thought that some people you'd think I've taken their firstborn.
Oh my God. I do mine for the TV show. And same thing, Pete, to where I'm sure they don't know that the Eric guy that's doing the interview with the music artist is also back there going, hey, get the interview guy to shut up more. Okay, thanks. It's like, to frequently work on that. Yeah, it's very humbling to read the comments and then not react.
Yeah, and I'm passionate about this. This is something that I want to see my children, if they want to take over Breedlove someday when they're older, I'd love it. So I'm passionate about this. Is something that's not a hobby for me. This is my livelihood. I love guitars, So
as we can see behind you, it's like that's like we started the interview, and I'm like looking, I'm like going, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I said to you, like I didn't set these out here for you. I really didn't. I've been playing these. This is my office that I come in and I work, and then I pick up guitars. I'm always testing acoustic tones. Then I'll jump into electric guitar world and work on some electric guitar stuff. And I'll pull microphone. I got microphone, dude. Hang on. I got
there's your boom. Yep. Yeah. And whenever you first came on camera for the interview, Pete, I thought, this reminds me a lot of the time I went to interview Tommy Emmanuel in his house, and Tommy's walking around barefoot, and the same thing, just like, with your room there, it's like, there's just guitars strewn everywhere and all this. And it's like, going, well, then you did pick up something and play it.
Yeah. So you asked, I don't know if I answered this, but you said, how did I feel after NAMM? I was really excited at NAMM that people got a chance to really see what we're doing now. I could see a lot of confusion. People were checking us out. They're like, what are these guys doing? Who are these new knuckleheads?
Well, I think also the competitors were checking you out.
I hope, because, come on.
I think truthfully, you know how it is to where, and I think once again, in the music gear community, and particularly in the guitar community, I think everybody's very open. I don't think anybody's trying to hide anything. And I think everybody wants to see everybody succeed.
Totally. Martin to Gibson to Taylor to Bourgeois to Collins to wherever people are making amazing guitars. They are. Now, someone might say, well, why would I buy a Breedlove? Well, I can tell you exactly why you should, and why I know what we're doing is different. And we do a thing called sound optimization.
I was going to bring that up. Thank you.
Yeah, sound optimization. We are the only only major manufacturer that does it. There are some.
And can you explain that too, Pete?
I will. So what we do is the wood comes into the factory, we tap the wood, and it gives us a frequency on a proprietary software. So we know right out of the gate, we sort that wood for that frequency comes up and we go, oh, that resonates like a parlor shape. So we sort it. And then when we go to build it, we put those two pieces together. We put the bracing on it. We tap it. Here comes our frequency. Let's say the frequency should be 160 with the top. We're talking about the top.
Yeah.
It's the top and back frequencies. So if it's at 165, we go in and carve the bracing, tap it again. Boom, 160. Okay, perfect. Let's put the sides and back on it. So now it goes through the whole entire build. And then after it's all strung up, boom, we tap it again. It gives us our frequency. And if it's still not hitting where we want it because something happened in the build, we go in and carve the bracing one final time because it's never that far off. We've been doing it for so long that it's, over 15,000 guitars have went through this process. So then, boom, we hit it again, carve, there's the frequency. So what that gives you that no one else is doing, each string has complete articulation because our top frequency to our back frequency is perfect. Every guitar. So no longer, if you had 5 of this guitar right here, same model, and you said, I'm going to play all 5 of them because one of them is going to be better than the other.
Which we've all done.
We all have done in our whole guitar existence. Anyone. I will tell you the main thing that every player that's been we have a Nashville office now so we can get players to come, session players, people on the road that are living here in Nashville playing with major acts. They come through. Every single person, not one has not said, wow, like these guitars are so consistent. They're like, every model we play is like consistent. And we live in a click world now. Click, buy. It's hard to do what we used to do and go to a music store. We still, I can't have one of my dealers buy 5 of the same guitar. We're not Martin.
Right.
And so that being the case, I need that guitar that's hanging on the hook that they have one of. I need that guitar when they strum it, they go, whoa, what is that? Oh my, I can't have duds.
Well, and I'm so glad you explained that because, and I knew the terminology. I just never had it explained to me before with the sound optimization. But, you and I know for a lot of guitars, and I'm not knocking this, to where it's really not done, Pete, by frequency, by sound, by the tapping and everything else. It's more of how the wood looks. It's like, and certainly, torification, everything else. You got Sitka spruce. You have either, rosewood or mahogany,
Yeah. Different tone woods. You have
different tone woods, but it's more, a lot of times it's more looks than it is tonality.
Or it's been each manufacturer or brand has a way that they build a guitar. And they've been doing it for so long and it's proven that it works. So that's how they build their guitars. Well, we know that every piece of wood is different. Every piece. It just is. I mean, it's a living, breathing element that's happening here. It's wood. It was a tree, for God's sake. I mean, it was like, so that being the case, we want to get to as close as we can to getting the right frequency. Now, is there a variance between top and back separation that a tolerance? Of course there is. I mean, it's a 7.5 hertz difference. If you can tell the difference, it's very minimal. But one of the coolest things, it goes even deeper. Let's say you love this guitar. You fell in love with it. It was your Grand Poobah Holy Grail guitar. God forbid, it gets smashed, it gets stolen, whatever. We know that if we pull up this serial number, we can track that guitar, the wood, back to who we bought it from and which batch it came from.
Oh my!
Because we tap it as the wood comes in, and we give every piece of wood a serial number.
Wow.
So we literally, if we had to, could build a guitar identical, minus if there was some imperfection in the wood grain or something like that. But we can get that guitar as absolutely as close. We have 3 profiles of the neck. So we have a soft C, a slim C, and a soft V. We could get the neck profile that we all gauge on 1, 5, and 9.
I love the soft V.
What that?
I love soft V.
Yeah. We put those on the dreadnoughts, because that's a great, a lot of people play thumb latch chords, F, and it just latches in,
Well, and I got to ask you this too, Pete. I mean, with the new direction of the company since 2025, how many different models are you offering? Because obviously I love the one that you're holding right now, which has the satin finish, but then you have the gloss finishes, all this I mean, in general, how many different, models,
what we did,
body styles are you offering?
what we did, Eric, is I told you 111 SKUs is what we had. We moved it to 20. What? 20. So what we wanted to do is simplify. So everything's in 3s. We have 3 series: Roots, Artisan, Collector. We have 3 shapes: Parlor, Concert, Dread. We have 3 neck profiles: Soft C, Slim C, Soft V. We have 3 LR bags pickup systems that go in each series. We're just trying to make everything very palatable to the consumer. So
it seems so logical also. And once again, I feel like it goes back to Schoolhouse Rock when we used to watch that, and 3 is a magic number.
Yeah, it is. It's a magic number in design, and it's just the 3s. And then coming up in August, we have a new Myrtle wood guitar in 3 different models coming. So we haven't abandoned Myrtle wood and went to just classic tone woods. We were just giving, we sold a lot of guitars in Q3 and 4 of last year when we took over the company, because we were moving through the old models and we discounted them so we could get ready for the new models coming out. Kind of like going to a car lot and you want the 2027, but they say to you, hey, we've got these 2026 models. We could give you a deal on them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're phenomenal cars, but the new no different. So we decided when we launched in 2026 to kind of pause on Myrtle wood just a little bit, because we sold so much of it in Q3 and 4 of 25. So now coming up, we've given the market enough little rest that we're like, okay, here come the new Myrtle woods. They've got this really cool, what we're calling it, a Tumalo Honeyburst. And Tumalo is where the company started, Tumalo, Oregon.
In Oregon.
So they're beautiful, beautiful burst on it in a Root series. And then we have a Cedar Mahogany. And then we have also a Dreadnought Cutaway. I just gave one to Blake Shelton in Vegas. You might have seen it on the socials. I was able to gift him one. He's not with us as an artist, but I just wanted to, as a gift, because we knew each other so long ago and the voice and everything.
Why?
I just wanted to say thank you to him. And these are like my calling cards now.
Yeah. I mean, but what a great thing though too. And I mean, and bringing up the Myrtle wood to where there for a while, Breedlove was so associated with it. And I certainly remember in the early days when I was first introduced to the Breedlove brand, I always loved, that unique cutaway they would have also. And then the very recognizable headstock.
Yeah. The headstock. Now let's talk about the headstock.
Please.
So the headstock before was what we call the asymmetrical headstock, the pointy headstock. Now, a lot of folks have thought that we went away from our DNA by going away from that headstock, but that headstock existed in the days of when there was a mustache bridge down here.
Right.
So if you take the pointy mustache bridge, you take the sharp cutaway that you were talking about here, and then you follow it up to the headstock, it made sense that it was a pointy head. For a design flow, it made sense.
Right.
So when we decided to go to a parlor, a concert, a dread, if I would have put a pointy headstock on a dreadnought,
not going to fly.
it's not going to fly. It is what it is. But this headstock is called the Wave headstock.
I really like the new, I like the shape of the new headstock.
Well, this was designed by Kim Breedlove in 2000.
Wow.
So here's just a little story. So this little dip-de-doo here, the Wave,
Yeah.
that's because Larry and Kim, they grew up in California and they love to surf. So this is their little Wave. This was like their little kind of, hey, how do we make something that looks traditional but yet modern?
Right.
So let's take a traditional shake, paddles out, kind of curves a bit, and then dips down, and the Wave is there. That's their kind of like, it reminded them of surfing a wave.
Yeah.
I mean,
The nod. But, I think it's so smart also with what you're doing with Breedlove, with having the three distinct, because I know with the Roots is more your entry level now, correct?
Correct. But still handmade, sound optimization. It just doesn't have all the pearl around the rosette and the purfling. It's got koa around the binding. It's just a simplified version of the Artisan. This is an Artisan. This is actually a prototype. If anybody's when they watch this,
I love that one.
you can't get this one yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying out some pick guards and some finishes, and but this is to reinforce what you said earlier. This is what I do. So I dream something up. We go, okay, let's put a satin finish on it, because as a performer, when we get out there, you see this little reflection on the pick guard that happens. That happens on the whole body when it's really high gloss. So we want to create something for the maybe touring artist or someone that's out, that's taking photos and that needs something that's toned down, but they still want the pretty rosettes and the nice open geared tuners on it. They still want those elements.
Yeah.
But they want it to be toned. So I say, hey, I dream this up and go, hey, let's make it like this. And then I'll play this thing for weeks and weeks, and I'll just kind of destroy it in a sense,
Kind of like the Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Dude,
I do like in the chocolate factory.
I got the ticket. Hey, if you stay on this call long enough with me, there's going to be little Oompa Loompas that this pop up and start singing.
But what a great gig. What a great point in time, Pete, for you and Shannon to be able to do this with Breedlove. Take an instrument company that has a great reputation, going back, coming up at almost 50 years. But it's like then kind of change the direction and go, here's where we see this company going as a creator of acoustic instruments, which, as you and I were talking before we did the interview, playable artwork.
Yes.
Tools, yes. But also there's something aesthetically beautiful about a well-made acoustic guitar.
Oh man. And all the way down to looking inside of it and seeing the precision of the perfing on the inside, the bracing, and just looking and going, wow, it's just, they do, our craftspeople in Bend, it's the same people that have been there. There's one guy that's been there since day one. He's employee number 3. It's the same. The attention to detail that the craftspeople in Bend, it blows my mind that I could ask for a satin finish ghost burst with blah, 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 this wood, that wood, and they build it for me, and I get it, and I'm like, this is phenomenal. I'm like,
amazing.
It is amazing, and I want, like, the viewers and the listeners to just, put aside what you think Breedlove was or is, and just play one.
Right.
Just play one. Pick one up and play it, and make and feel the neck. That's where the conversation starts, right there. Feel the neck. I have put I can't tell you how many hours into getting the right neck profiles. Like, I have driven my people crazy with getting these necks perfect in my mind.
Right.
And they're 3 distinct neck profiles. And then strum a chord and listen to the sound optimization. Feel the guitar moving. You'll feel it moving. You'll be like, what's going on here?
Well, and you and I know also, because I mean, once again, over the years, I've helped so many people find guitars for young people or for themselves or whatever. But you and I both know, Pete, it's got to fit your hand.
Yeah.
It has to be comfortable to play for 5 minutes or to play for 5 hours.
And that is something that someone said to me also. They're like, I just don't want to put this guitar down. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the ultimate compliment.
Ultimate. I said to a guy at NAMM, he was talking about, us as the new stewards of the brand. I said, and the big changes we've made and some things that we've done that have rocked certain portions of the MI world, giving them something to talk about,
Right.
and it's like, it's no different than this, man. Like, I am my father's son, and my father is his father's son. And I still have my father's blood and my grandfather's blood and his in me, but I'm my own person, and Shannon and I are the new legacy guy, the new people that carry on the brand. We're the ambassadors of the brand. And we are Breedlove. Like, every bit of this guitar is Breedlove. It's been done since 1990. We didn't do anything. We just pulled all the elements together.
Right.
And made a new cookie.
It's like, that's amazing. Well, I want to bring up real quick too. I want to give a shout out to Acoustic Coffee, who is the sponsor of Gear Gab. And after the show, we'll be getting a bag. So Pete will be getting a bag of Acoustic Coffee. And if you're watching or listening to the show, if you use the code Gear Gab, you get 20% off your first order of Acoustic Coffee. And I want to make sure also, Pete, while we're talking, for people that are joining us on the show, where do they need to go for like website and social? And also, you and I didn't even talk about it earlier, to find a Breedlove instrument dealer, and also, music stores that want to start carrying Breedlove.
Yeah.
Where do they go?
So you can go to breedloveguitars.com, check out our guitars, to see them there and to look. But if there's a dealer locator also on there where you can plug in. If you don't see a dealer that is in your neighborhood, call them, tell them, it's a revolution, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and plus, if they put comments on social media, now they know, Pete, who's going to be reading it and answering it.
That's right. It's me. Trust me. It is me. It's me.
Well, I got to bring this up too, Pete. I don't want to embarrass you or give any news out ahead, but I know also, as the musician and artist you are, that rumors are that you're going to be going back into the studio, maybe releasing some singles, maybe an EP or album within the next year or so.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So, we didn't really touch on it, and we won't go into a ton, but, last couple of years of my life, as in my family's life, have been, challenging, glorious, all those things. My wife, she really fought cancer, and she made it through it. That we're very thankful that she's healthy. But anyone that's went through that as the person going through it, or the caregiver or associated, however, you look at life different, man. You really don't take yourself too seriously. You don't take, you realize what's really important in life. And, I've written a lot of songs in the last 3 years now that are highly, highly personal to me in a way that I never knew I was able to do. And, when I was a young man, I felt like I wrote songs. I'd build it up to tear it down, just to write a song, self-deprecating. I was dealing with growing up, and learning how to get my ideals and, work with people and relationships. And then as you get older, my children are my purpose, and my wife. And then when you go through something traumatic like that, through a cancer battle and life and still raising kids, and, music came back to me in a way that it's never been in me, where I have a hard time even. My wife and I were just listening to one of the songs the other day, a rough demo that I had done of one, and I couldn't keep it together, man. Like I tried playing that song in New Jersey not too long ago at a show I played. Yeah, I got about halfway through and I was done. I was like, I can't do it. I can't.
I mean, that's when you know how honest and how deep, I mean, from your heart.
So I'm gonna go in the studio. Yes. Don't have the exact dates nailed down. A lot of logistic to work out there, but it is in the works. And I'm in that amazing stage of pre-production, which is like I'm pulling everything together, man. I'm like listening to songs that I wrote 15 years ago that I'm like, I forgot about that song.
Right.
Does it make the cut? Is it relevant today? Nah, like I'm just pulling them all in right now, and it's been really, really fun. It's been a great diversion because sometimes business can be, business sometimes not always. Big boy pants are not always the pants you want to wear.
Exactly. It's nice to put on the musician hat and go, bye, honey, I'm going to a gig now.
I need to play. I need to play. So, but going back and listening to songs and letting my brain kind of dream and drift, back into that world has been really beautiful. And it's like air. I need it. I got to breathe it, man, and I'm not going to record an album to be a star or to get accolades or recognition. I'm doing it because I create art and, I need to do it. I want my children one day to kind of look back and know that this is a huge part of who their father was. And maybe they can connect with me in a way that I wasn't able as a father to connect with them because of my inefficiencies, like
Yeah.
we all can communicate in a certain way. And I applaud my wife. She's beautiful. She communicates amazing with our children, and my kids know me as dad, the worker, dad, the like, get up, son, let's go work. I'm trying to teach them those valuable lessons. So
Right.
I think that they'll look back at my music and they'll listen and they'll be like, oh, this was the emotional dad.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I think, for guys, it's hard for us to share those things with our, it's hard enough to share them with our wives, spouses, but like with our kids, it's hard because we're trying to, we're kind of guide on the phone.
They know we love them. We tell them we love them. We show them we love them. But we're so in the mode of trying to raise humans,
Mhm.
um,
And keep the lights on.
keep the lights on, do all the stuff that we're doing. I think that songs are so pure, you know, and I think it's gonna be great for my boys to look back. We were just playing a song I wrote called "Oh Daddy," that I wrote when my first son was born. And I was having this moment of like first child, like my father passed away in 2009. He was so, he's my best friend. So it was anyway, so I was going through this phase where I was looking at my kid and I was like thinking, oh, daddy, I'm not ready for you to leave. Like he's like saying to me, I'm not ready for this, And I was playing this song that I'd written 8 years ago or 9 years ago. And my 10-year-old now, he was like, looking at me and I was like, I wrote this for you actually, and he's connecting with me now on a level because of a song, right, that I wasn't able to articulate right now with him. That it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. So
It's incredible. Well, I'll tell you what else, is beautiful is what you and Shannon are doing with Breedlove, Breedlove. For everybody joining us on Gear Gab, be sure and go to the website, check out the guitars. But more importantly, I would say this, Pete, find a music store near you that carries Breedlove instruments. Go and play them for yourself. Put your hands on them, play them, see if you connect with them, and be sure and follow them on social media. I think this is an amazing time, Pete. Congratulations.
thanks, man. Thank you for having me on and let me explain and get long-winded and go off on my tangents, man. I just it's a cool story. Like it's every guitar player. I can't believe that as a singer, songwriter, guitar player, lover, golfer, father, business guy, that I get the chance to do what I'm doing. And I encourage everyone, just be you, man. And just, and your life will be full, and what you're supposed to do will find you. And, don't be scared to say yes.
Exactly what you said before, to where it's like you always say yes, and now you are president and co-owner of Breedlove. Pete Mroz, thank you so much for joining us on the Gear Gab Podcast.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks for joining the Gear Gab Podcast with Eric Dahl. Subscribe to our weekly conversations on your favorite platform. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to leave us a review. Follow us on social media at Gear Gab Podcast. You'll never know who our next guest will be.